Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to Moscow region, and welcome to a new metro train video. Now today I want to show you some new metro stations here in Moscow, and they opened as of yesterday. And the first station we're going to go and see is Novomoskovskaya, and we're going to head on inside, and I'm going to show you the amazing Moscow Metro in 2024 and how the metro is developing, and we're going to see some interesting stations. Let's go. For a point of reference, outside the entrance of all metro stations, they've got these maps of the immediate area, and it shows you how far something is, 5-minute walk or 10-minute walk. And Novomoskovskaya station is where we're starting out. This is the end station of line 16. Also, you can interchange over to the red line, which was the original first line in Moscow. There's not a whole lot going on as I pan back. Lots of forest. There is a micro district of housing up here, which is about a 10-minute walk away, and there's some down here. You're very fortunate to be watching this video because this opened yesterday. I was actually here yesterday also, but I was riding it as a passenger. But today you're going to come along with me and experience these new stations. So I hope it's interesting. Where we are, as I pointed out, there is not a lot going on in this area immediately, but they've done some nice gardening and decorations. There is actually a lift down to the platform level as well, which is nice. And we're going to head on inside. Now you'll actually see on the door here the two different lines that you could catch from here, because you can actually transfer over to the red line. But line 16 is where we need to go. Let's go on inside. It's very echoey as we walk in the steps. There's a Christmas tree, and that's about it. But this is absolutely brand new, so we're almost the first people to walk in here. Now I say we because this is for everybody watching, and I say that a lot of my videos, but it's just me. Let's get on downstairs a little bit further inside the station. It's really nice though that even though this opened yesterday, they've got Christmas trees on the entrance of the station. And of course the steps we just walked down. There is actually the ramp there for people with prams on that right hand side. But I think the easiest way would be to take the lift if you need to. Right here. As we go for a walk through the different stations, I will point out things that are of interest. I thought I'd show one of these heavy doors right here. And these are the doors that are essentially the bomb shelter doors. One of the secondary reasons of the metro, dating back to the Great Patriotic War in the 1940s, was as bomb shelters. And even the modern stations, they've got the doors in place. They're very thick, I think, steel and concrete doors that they can swing closed at a moment's notice. Walking into the entranceway of the station. Now, the one thing that they do when they're building these is they over-construct them. Obviously, later down the track, many years from now, there'll be a lot more people that will use these stations. So they're intentionally over-designed, and you can see just how much space there is walking around. You've got the ticket machines on the left-hand side. Always at the stations there's going to be security. That's very normal. We're going to pass through the gates just here on the right. There is actually the ticket booths right here, so if you actually want to speak to the lady and buy a ticket, you can. Very nice. And of course all the usual security features. If you've got bigger bags, they've got the x-ray machines, and then we can see the metro map proper, and where we're starting out down here, this green line, and we're going to ride these stations just on this section, the brand new line in Moscow. And this is the newest station in all of Russia on the metro network. To ride the metro in Moscow, there is a few different options. Now, being that I live here, I've actually got the Troika card, which is the refillable card that you can top up and you can connect to your bank card. And then this red ticket is actually a paper ticket that you can use for single rides, or you can buy a daily pass. So there's two different options. My usual one is this Troika right here, and I'm going to head on through and we're going to walk down to the platform. If you're curious about the price of tickets, I just realized I didn't mention it. The one-time fare is 70 rubles, or about 70 cents US, and with the Troika it's 57 rubles because you're topping up a card. So I'm just going to tap this red card to go through. I get the green light and I'm going to head down the escalators. Very interestingly, the actual tree here is decorated in the theme of the train station builders. And this is their logo, which actually looks like apartments with a crane. And this logo here, we might see this a couple more times in a few minutes as we head downstairs. One other nice thing they've done on the upper platform here, they put some photos of the other stations that they built on this green line, which is really nice. So you can actually have a look at some of the construction pictures that they took over the last year or so. And this one was only from a few months ago. Of course, being that this only opened yesterday, there won't be a lot of people riding the stations initially. There isn't a lot of housing in this immediate area where we're going into. Have a look at this ceiling. And there's actually a train already there on the right hand side. We're going to walk around briefly first and just discover the platform a little bit more. This ceiling is amazing. As one of the trains just leaves, you're going to get that quite a fair bit in the videos. I just wanted to point out the signage because it's actually in English and Russian. So it's telling us the next stations that we're going to head towards, and then also the exits. And then this lime green. Now, I did do a tiny bit of homework about this before coming to make this video, and the perhaps reference is the green line, but it's actually a different color or a different shade of green. So if you're watching, let me know what you think of this color. Now with these benches, can you see what might look like a crane and then the arm and the reference to the ornament on the tree upstairs? It's very construction-like design. What do you think? Now this is what's called a single vaulted station. So there's no pillars in the middle. And you get this very large effect of the size of the station. And another train is coming. Can we catch it? Well, let's see. There we go. Now there is already a few people waiting to catch the train, whether they live in this immediate area or they're connecting from the red line. We're not sure. I think we have to catch the trains leaving at least a few times, and that noise as it leaves the platform. There it goes, off on another journey. And then there's just a few people left here, and it's almost just me and a couple of other people as another train comes. Oh. And who is sitting here? Oh!
Hey. Hello guys.
It's Max.
Long time no see.
Yeah, as the train comes. So Max is actually with me today, and he will be perhaps briefly in a couple of the shots. And he's here really for the special commentary
Yeah,
and
I'm providing Russell with all the facts. If he wants me to ask something, I will probably answer it.
thank you so much, Max. So you can see off in the background Max right there, and he's going to be in and out of some of the shots, and he's going to help me out, at least talk about the stations, especially on the parts that I don't know. And he's just as much of a train geek as I am, and I think he's really the one responsible for getting me in to come and make these videos. Perhaps you might remember him from the Monino Air Museum video. That was a really cool day out that we did. I think we need to get one more train departure before we head off ourselves. There we go. And let's get that sound as it winds up. There it is, and we've got another few minutes of quiet between either side where there's not a train. Actually, the next one, you can almost see it in the tunnel coming now, and then the one coming on this side as well. Right there. This will be our train, and we'll head on to the next station now. There is actually some other train geeks that we'll see, I think, at each station. It's not coming quite as fast because coming to a stop. And let's jump on board. Now this is the brand new Moscow 2024 train as well. So this is the newest series of metro trains. And one of the most interesting facts is the color of the benches were chosen by a public poll. So the citizens of Moscow got to choose the color of the interior of the train. And have a look all the way down to the last carriage. The other thing with this new metro train is it has more doors. Faster boarding, faster unloading. So there's 4 doors per carriage. And then also, you can see here, they've got the USB plugs right on these handles, which is very easy to plug in your phone. And off we go to Kommunarka. We're now going at full speed, so it might be a little bit loud. There is the digital screens letting us know the stations. So we're going to get out at the next stop. And we're going to ride all the way eventually to the last station at the end. And then, hopefully, we can see where the train is going around the corner and flexing. Can we see that? Look at it straighten up. And then, of course, either side, the walls of the tunnel. And just like that, we're at the next station. Welcome everybody to Kommunarka. And we'll have a little bit of a walk around in a few minutes here and take it all in. Quite a different design of a station. You can see immediately these very large pillars that are holding up the station. It's not that full single span like we saw at the last station. Already Max is taking a bit of a break. These are very nice seats as well, and the
Like seats for an introvert.
yeah, right. If you don't have any friends or you don't want to sit next to anybody. On the other side, there's the benches, and it's just a single seat right there as the train leaves and heads off. And then the design here is very interesting. Let's have a bit more of a walk around on the map of Kommunarka. So this is where we arrived to right here. You can actually see a little bit more infrastructure around, still a lot of forest and green. New Moscow is very well known for the open spaces, and probably the most known thing in the immediate area is the hospital right here. And this opened during COVID, and they built it very quickly, and it's very large. And it's actually stayed as a hospital to this day, which is super nice for anybody that lives in this immediate area. You can see some other apartments. And again, lots of green though. See if I can talk about the station for a minute and the theme, because it's purple and pink. And according to Max, he said that it's not a very common color for the metro stations throughout all of Moscow. And this perhaps might be the only one that we're aware of. But it's meant to represent the early evening time and what I call the golden hour. And that's the time in the evening when it's about sunset, and that kind of light colors in the sky. And you can actually see a butterfly on the first letter of Kommunarka right there. And then have a look on the paneling here. This will eventually be another exit. And they've got this very large butterfly. And have a look at all the black marble as well on the sides and back walls. Very beautiful. I think my favorite thing when I've got a chance to film like this is catching the trains coming to the platform. And I think here it comes. And we catch it on the other side at the same time. Great timing. I really like these light panels that are lighting up the whole platform here, because they're not mounted in the ceiling. It's essentially light reflecting in either direction. And that's something a little bit different about this station. I think lots of people heading on home, lots of people doing their New Year shopping today. And I think the left-hand train, they're actually going to leave right about the same time. And we're going to get the double departure. Look at that, right at the same time. Almost. From the upstairs balcony as we walk out of the station, you can get a great view of the trains arriving and departing. It's not coming as fast as I was hoping. It's really coming quite slow. I wonder if they know it's like the selfie zone. That's a great spot to see the trains. And then there's this actual marble barrier right here, of course. That's a great view of the station from this point as the train heads on to the next station. That's really neat. What I want to ask you is, what do you think of this purple and pink colors? Do you think it represents the golden hour in the evening time when sun's setting? Let me know in the comments your thoughts and opinions of the color scheme. Coming outside at metro station Kommunarka, they've actually got the lights on. It gets very dark very early here in winter, and you can see that green stripe right there representing the line 16. And here there's a little bit more infrastructure. There's actually a very big commercial office building on the left hand side, and then on the right there is some apartments. And I would say these have probably been here quite a few years before the station came here. It's only a couple of minutes walk. How fortunate, or how convenient is it if you live in these apartments? You can walk to the station and then head on into Moscow. One thing that's a little bit different with this station, it's not as deep as the first station when we started the video. There is also a elevator down to the platform, and where we came outside, there is also an elevator to this level as well. So it's much more passenger friendly, these new stations. This is actually really nice. This marble work on the walls of the steps. And as we come down and look for the next train to head on the line. So it feels quite bright in here now from being outside. What do you think of the colors? Let me know. We're going to let this train go, and then we're going to catch the next one. Actually, almost the same time that we catch the trains. Very nice. And keep in mind that this opened yesterday. And of course, the months and years leading up to this opening. And here we are at the newest metro stations in all of Russia. In between trains and before we catch our train to head on off, Max's favorite part of the platform or this station is the bench. Now, if you remember as we walked out initially, so on this right-hand side, there's only one seat. So if, like Max and I, go out on our own and we don't have any friends, we don't have to feel so depressed because we're sitting on our own. He's going to even give us the example of it. So it's actually a solid block of wood as well. And then there's a bench on the other side, or a rail. But on the opposite side, there's actually 3 normal seats. So that's super interesting. I wonder how many people notice this. And of course, Max loves it because he doesn't have to feel pressured who's going to sit next to him, or will someone like me turn up.
Yeah, I can just sit here, relax, take a break, perhaps drink some water or eat some snacks.
Yeah.
Like this.
Very nice. I'm gonna head on this train, and actually we've got on the very first carriage. Might be a little bit loud just for a minute. And one thing that Max was pointing out to me, if you have a look on the bottom of the benches, you can see the green color. Can you see the whole way along the color green? And that represents the line that we're riding. So if you've forgotten which train you're actually on, you can have a look for the green right there. And it reminds me of that. As we go around the corner slightly, you can see the bend of the train. Welcome everybody to Kornilovskaya metro station, and this is the 3rd station on the line, and this is the last of the 3 stations that opened yesterday, and then the next 4 stations are the ones that were previously opened back in September on Moscow City Day. And this is a more traditional vaulted station. You can see the pillars on either side, all of the marble work on the pillars, and then this orange paneling on the side walls right here. Between Max and I, we're not sure what it represents. There isn't any information about why it's orange. He said it dates back to the Soviet times, and this was a very classic color that they used on a lot of metro stations. If anybody knows more, let me know in the comments. I'm trying my best to do this little brief walkthrough between the trains arriving. I think I can just hear it off in the distance. Now, the station itself is named after Admiral Kornilov, who was an admiral in the Russian Navy and one of the heroes of Russia. And quite a lot of the stations in the Moscow metro are named after heroes of Russia. And the next train is arriving. It is really fascinating when you walk through these, particularly on a day like today, and you've got a few extra minutes to look around and take in the architecture and the design and just the amount of work. Even if you think about all of this marble and stone that they put down, just how many thousands of tons of it was brought here for just this one station. I just think it's fascinating to think about this and how much work goes into the construction of the Moscow metro. We can see again the trains at the platform at the same time. You can see then the red lights for the doors closing and doors opening. From here we're actually going to go up to the street level again and have a look at the station entrance, because this is quite interesting for this region of Moscow and how the look of the station is. And I think it might be interesting for everybody watching as well. Before we head on outside, there's actually a map here, and there actually is directions and the exit numbers that you can take. And the one thing that's very interesting about this station is there is very little or no housing or apartment buildings in the vicinity of this station. The one thing they do have is a place called Food City, and this is the largest food market in all of Russia, and approximately 30% of Russia's food passes through this food market. This huge car park here is where all the trucks come in with the deliveries, and then conveniently the station is right here. There's also a major highway at the same time. Well, let's go on upstairs and have a look at the actual station itself. Coming up to the street level, we've come out to show you the metro station entrance. Now we are very much in an industrial area here in the southwest of Moscow. Very busy highway right in front of us. There is actually a shopping center on the other side of the overpass called Mega Troplostan. I've actually made quite a few videos there. There used to be an IKEA there. And actually, I think my most popular video on the channel is from that shopping center. And then this is a brand new metro station that opened yesterday. And even Max is impressed that I brought him to something that's...
Yeah, I am, because the entrance is not the usual type. It is Soviet style.
Yes, and it's almost a little bit out of place in this district of Moscow, but yet it's got a feeling that you're back in the 1990s
or 80s.
1980s, and it's just so interesting, especially from the previous stations where it's really just a vestibule and a entrance and exit of the metro. And they put, of course, lots of lights and decorations, and we'll even see again a tree right here, and the lights you see off in the distance is Food City, and you can now walk not more than 5 minutes and you're in the largest food market in Russia right there. How amazing. More people taking photos like Max and I are doing, and this is just beautiful. I think it is. We can see again from the outside the very bright glowing M for the metro, and in Moscow it's always red. Then again we can see that green stripe. Where you might be in the center of Moscow where there's 3 or 4 intersecting lines, there'll be multiple colors on the bands right there. And then walking on inside, you can see the decorations that they've done in the station and all of the lights on the windows. It's really very nice. Wow. Before we head downstairs, I just want to show one more time this entrance of the station, because in reality they didn't have to build it this big and this opulent, and it's a little bit of a throwback to the stations of the USSR and Soviet times. The very high ceilings, the columns on the outside, the very big tall windows. And I think it's just so nice that they've put this station into this line because they really could have built something far more modern, especially from the outside, but they didn't. They resisted and made it, you know, looking as though it's an older station than what it actually is. As we head down on the escalators, it's really interesting on the sides of the escalators, these light tubes. And almost every station where you ride the escalators, they're a little bit different. And it's another ode to the architects of these stations where they change the design slightly and it draws your eye to them, something interesting, and then it sets the station apart from all the others. You can actually see here on this platform level the doors that can close like we showed earlier in the video. These ones are a little bit more architecturally designed and not as noticeable as the ones that are up on the street level. What we're going to do now is wait for the train to come to go to the next station. We've made it to the next station and we're just going to let the train leave. It's going to get up to speed. This is cool. I love it. And there it goes. The interesting thing, and as Max and I are walking around, we just realized, as the next train turns up, we are the only two people who got off that last train. And I wonder if anyone will actually get off this train as well. This is completely different again, and I'm going to talk about this station in just a minute. Let's see if anyone is going to get off or not. All the doors open. Oh, there we go. There's a couple of people. 3 people got off. There it is. I wonder if they live locally. They must live in the immediate area, whereas we're just coming and going for some videos and photographs. I think I forgot to welcome you to Tyutchevskaya metro station, and this station was named in honor of a famous Russian writer or a poet. And all along the panels on the wall right here is different verses from poems. You can see all the way down all the different words and letters. And then what's really interesting is the columns that are holding up the station. So we saw them in the last station, of course, but they're only finished halfway with tiles, and then they put glass and chrome encased in the column. So it actually gives you a feeling of a lighter, brighter station. I think that's very evident from the lighter tiles as well. This mixture of the black and grey. And I think Max is very impressed by this station. He's actually not seen any of these stations before today, despite the fact he's such a guru about everything that we're looking at. He's seeing them exactly how you're seeing them. As another train turns up. There we go. One other thing that's a little bit different with this station is the benches. Now, we've pointed them out on a few of the other stations, and the idea was to keep the station very minimalistic and bright and airy, if that's the right word. And these more simpler stainless steel and wooden benches. This is the whole thing with the metro. Every station you go to has a little different design quirk to it. There's a few people coming and going, but really not that many. We just step off the train. We're here at General Tyulenev metro station. I had to remember that a few times. And the actual station itself is named after one of the generals that played a major role in the Great Patriotic War. And it's an honor for somebody to have a station or a place named after them here in Russia. And the actual colors that you see on the panels on the wall are also colors in the St. George ribbon, which is very significant here in Russia as well. These lighter colors and the orange on the other side. And it's a very nice station, I think so, with the tiles. It's got tubular columns on this station, and then the actual marble is curved around the columns, which is something quite different from the previous station, which was square. So there's definitely a design element to the station. As the next train comes, they're roughly running about every 3 to 4 minutes, and this is a Sunday, and this is a non-working day, but still every 3 or 4 minutes is very impressive. Just want to point out on this station entrance, so there is actually lifts to go up to the street level, and then also the normal steps, and then the ramp, of course, very famous in Russia. They're not easy to use, and a lot of people aren't fans of them, but it's a normal part of all Russian infrastructure. But where they've got the lifts, obviously it's much more convenient to get up to the street level.
So we were actually wondering if there is any reminder of who the station was named after. And there is a print on the glass about General Kornilov and his brave soldiers defending our motherland.
Welcome to the second last station on our trip, and I hope it's not getting too long. I think it will be a long video, but that was really the point of this video, to show all the stations on this brand new line. And this is the People's Friendship University Station. Now I'm saying it in English because a lot of people name it that way, or also Rudin University is the more correct explanation of it. And have a look at the ceiling and the panels. And then on the pillars here, you've got this very light colored stone. These dark brown solid wood benches. Now, one of the more interesting things of this station is up on the street level, and we're going to head up there shortly. I think it might be interesting to see the mural that they've got here. Now, I've never been here to this station. However, I've heard so much about this mural that we've got to definitely include it in this video. In honor of the university and all of the international students that attend this local university, they've got this very long mosaic painting. Now, it's actually different tiles with different colors. We're going to see it the whole way down. And each different part of this mosaic are different world-famous landmarks. Now, depending on where you're from in the world, as I walk down this, perhaps mention in the comments as many different ones as you can, or perhaps one that is recognizable from where you live. And it might be interesting how many people mention or write about. And I wonder if there's any mention of Australia. I haven't walked this path yet until now, so I think it might be interesting just for myself. This is one of the things I really wanted to see as part of making this video, to show the different pictures or paintings. I don't know how to describe it. Now, the actual tiles are cut exactly in the shape of the different landmarks, but then there's this kind of like a spill of paint that comes down, which of course was intentional. And actually, as I stop right here, there is the Sydney Opera House. So that's the ode to Australia. And let's see how many others everybody can point out. I wonder how many I know myself.
Oh, there is the St. Petersburg. We can see the Lachta Center.
Ah, yes.
The the Copper Knight, the Peter the
Oh,
Great.
okay, so there's a little bit of Russia,
Yes.
and then there's a lot of different international
Oh,
places.
and there's France, the Eiffel Tower.
I was asking all the people to write down what they're seeing, and Max, you're giving it away.
And there's the mosque. Okay, I'm sorry for doing this.
No, Max. But it's
There's the mosque.
a lot of towers, churches, a lot of very well-known landscapes. That's Moscow City right there, I can recognize it. And I think Spassky Tower. Very, very nice. Whoever did this, the amount of detail, not just in the painting of it, but also in the tile work. And whoever was able to do the tile work as well. And I think also, if I'm not mistaken, am I seeing animals as well? I think there might be animals along with buildings and landmarks. So interesting to see this, and this is really the feature of this station. All the different places, the whole way down this walkway. And I wonder, all the people who walk along this path every day, how much attention they pay to this, because it's really a definite feature of the station. As Max and I have been walking up and down this mural, or mosaic, there is some Easter eggs, and built into the tiles are different little badges or pins, and this one's actually a cruise ship. Now, if you didn't know, I worked on cruise ships for a lot of years, and we're trying to figure out what the correlation is between the pins and the little scenes. So if anybody knows that, there is about 20 of these little pins or badges all through the tile work. And it's really interesting what the reference of it is, or what the meaning is behind them, because they're just dotted around when you're walking past this. So it's really fascinating. And I wonder how many people even notice that in the tile work. It's really a very amazing mural. I really hope for everybody that was interesting to see that mural. And there is one more on the wall as we go down the escalators to the level where the trains are. And it's another mosaic of different people from different cultures all around the world. And it's in reference to the university that's immediately in the area where this station is, and how all the cultures can come together, can live in peace and harmony. And I think it's a very fitting mosaic that fits well with this university and this region where we are here. As we come back down to the platform, and we've got one more station to check out. As we catch the train to the last station as part of this video, slowly each station we're getting on, there's more and more people riding, and we're getting a little bit closer to Moscow at the same time. And this last station actually connects to the big circle line, which I made a video about last year or the year before, when that was finally completed, the circle of the line. And I think it's only fitting that I end the video there at that last station. And if you want to see that video, I think I'll have that as the card at the end of this video itself. Welcome to the last station. And actually it's the last station for the train as well. And the announcer's letting everybody know they've got to get off because it's no more stops. And this is Novatorskaya. And you can see how different it is. Even for Sunday, there's more people riding to and from this station because it's a connecting or an intersecting line with another metro station or another train. I've been talking about trains and metros all day. I've almost lost my train of thought. Is that the right words? Have a look at the columns at this station. They're much more traditional looking and they're actually carved tiles. Looks a little bit more older looking. They can try to create that theme of stations from the Soviet times and back in the 80s or 90s or before. The metro itself is 89 years old, so it's going to be difficult sometimes for the architects to come up with a plan of how these should look or what theme or color they should go with, because everybody wants to see something different at every station, and I do too. And at least another style or different lighting pattern you can see on the ceiling there. Probably one of the more unique things at Novatorskaya station, I think I mentioned the name of the station, is the escalators to go out to the exit and then to the interchange to the big circle line. And this is the only interchange or escalator bank in all of Russia with 6 escalators. And very typical, or traditionally, they've got the actual booth here that someone would sit in and checks the safety of the escalators. But because it's so big, it actually has 2 booths. See some of the cleaners coming down at the same time. So there's a bank of 3 on this right-hand side. These are all going up, or at least 2 of them are. And then over here on the left is a bank of 3 with the down escalators. And the lady here is wondering what I'm filming, of course. But this is the only one in Russia where there is 6 escalators, which is maybe for some not overly interesting, but it's definitely a unique feature of the Moscow metro and the metros in other cities around the world. And I wonder how many people riding this escalator every day realize that this is the only bank of 6 escalators in all of Russia. I think it's really a fun thing to add to the video, and especially being that I'm here with Max, who's been giving me lots of information throughout the whole day. And when you make the interchange to this station, you're confronted with 6 escalators. Now, of course, you can see that they're going up and down, but is there anywhere else in the world maybe that has 6 escalators in a row like this? I wonder. Normally we'd actually go outside and I would end the video here, but Max and I both need to take the actual big circle line to head on home, which is line 11. And this is the very large vestibule or undercover passage between the stations. And this is very overbuilt. However, the big circle line is a very popular line in Moscow. It has a lot of people riding it. And I wonder, for this young guy, what's happened? He's on the wrong side of the fence. What's going on? We can even hear some music playing. There's a busker off in the distance. As we come to the end of the video, I really hope it's not that long. I think the last time I did the metro video at the big circle line, it was more than an hour. So I think possibly this may end up being that long. I really want to say a huge thank you to Max for coming along today.
Yeah, and thank you, Russell, for inviting me to this.
Did I invite you or did you invite me? I think it was...
It was both, it was mutual, yeah.
Right, and we both enjoy coming to see new things and new stations. I showed you something, you showed me something.
And we had fun.
Of course, I think we always have fun when we go out together. So yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up.
Smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, and of course comment your opinion in the, the comments. Yes.
Not even scripted at all. So let us know what you think. If you want to see Max in more videos, let us know in the comments. I know he was very popular in the aeroplane museum video when we went there, so it's nice and easy to get together and come on a day like this. If you want to join me on Telegram, the link will be right on top of Max's head right there, somewhere there, my Telegram channel. And then over this side will be another video to watch. and something different on the channel. And you can keep traveling with Russell and Max. Okay, everybody.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.